All right, this is 7th grade, Module 4, Lesson 5, on finding 100% given another percent. All right, so we have this factor table here in front of us, and it says, what are the whole number factors of 100? So we want to write out our multiplication tables, basically, all the factors of our multiplications, that once we get to 100, then we're done. And then we want to see how many multiples it took to get there. So 100, if I have 100 times 1 gives me 100, and I stop right there because I'm already at my 100 value. And that's one factor. If I have 50 times 1 is 50, 50 times 2 is 100, and I stop because I got to my 100. That gives me 2 factors. So let's try 25. 25 times 1 is 25. 25 times 2 is 50. 25 times 3 is 75. And 25 times 4 is 100. I got to my 100, so I must stop. How many factors did that take? 4, or how many number of multiples, I should say. Okay. Now, let's try 20. 20 also goes into 100. 20 times 1 is 20. 20 times 2 is 40. Times 3 is 60. Times 4 is 80. And times 5 is 100. So that took 5 multiples. What if I did 10? 10 goes into 100. So that would be 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, and 100. And that took 10 multiples. All right, 5. 5 has a multiple of 100, or has a factor of 100. So that's 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45, and I'm not going to fit it on there, so I'm going to use ... But I do know that that would give me ultimately 20 multiples. All right, 2 other numbers that can divide into 100 evenly. Let's say 4. I'm going to let you go ahead and write out your 4's multiples and stop at 100. Okay, and if you did that correctly, you should have 25 multiples there. And our last one, let's try 2. 2 can go into 100 evenly. So write out your 2's times tables. All right, and how many number of multiples are there? There should be 50. And then they did the 1 for us. So what we're trying to see is all the numbers that can be factors of 100. All right, let's look at example 1. The 42 students who play wind instruments represent 75% of the students in the band. So how many students are actually in the band? So we're going to set up our line equals line, always over 100. We have a number here with a percent symbol, so that goes here in the percent area. Now, 42 students is a part. What we don't know is the whole number of students in the band, and that's what we're solving for. So we're going to cross multiply here. We get 75x equals 4,200. Divide by 75. That cancels. And 75 goes into 4,200 56 times. All right, so there are 56 students in the band. Okay, let's try the next one. Bob's Tire Outlet sold a record number of tires last month. One salesman sold 165 tires, which was 60% of the total tires sold that month. All right, so it wants to know how many tires was 60%. So how many tires was that? All right. So let's set it up as line equals line. I have a percent number here, so that's going to go here in the percent section. We're going to put that over 100. Now he sold 165. So what was the total number of tires sold that month? We don't know. We don't know the total. All right, so we're going to cross multiply here, and I get 60x. Cross multiply here, and I get 16,500. I'm going to divide out the 60. All right, and if you do this on your calculator correctly, there was 275 tires sold that month. But one salesman sold 165 of that total. All right, Nick currently has 7,200 points in his fantasy baseball league, which is 20% more than Adam. So how many points does Adam have? Well, since the boys have point values here and one gentleman has 20% more, that means Adam has 100%. Nick has 20% more than that, so Nick has 120%. So we're going to set this equal to 120% in order to find out just how many Adam has, because I need to know what the 100% is. So we're going to say line equals line, and we're going to keep that 100%, and I'm going to use the 100 plus 20% here as my percent increase. All right. Now, I do know that Nick has 7,200 points. I don't know what Adam has. So let's cross multiply these, and I get 120x. And this here will be 720,000. I'm going to divide out that 120. Okay, and if you did this on your calculator correctly, you would get 6,000, and this represents Adam. That's how many points Adam has. So Adam has 6,000 and Nick has 7,200. All right, I'm going to move this down a little bit here. Let's look at number 3. Kurt has driven 276 miles on his road trip, which was 70% of the trip. How many miles does he have left to go? All right. So 100% of the trip is the entire trip, and he's already driven 70% of it. So we're looking at what is the remaining 30%. Okay, so we're going to use 30% here when we set this up. So we're going to say line equals line, always over 100. And I'm going to use that 30% here in the 30% spot, or in the percentage spot. Now, he's already driven 276 miles. We don't know the total number of miles in the trip. Okay, so we're going to cross multiply these, and I'm going to get 30x. Cross multiply here, I get 27,600. Divide out the 30. All right, and that gives me 920 miles. So he has 920 mile trip. The whole trip was 920 miles. So how much more does he have left to go? So we're going to take that 920, subtract what he's already driven, and that will give us 644 miles still to go. All right, let's look at example 2. I'm going to move this down. Now, I'm going to go against what it says here. They want you to use mental math, but in my years of teaching this, it's been very difficult for kids to see the mental math behind these percentages until you get a little bit more advanced with it. All right. Now, some of them might be easy, like especially like 50% or something like that. But when they're talking about 1%, 5%, sometimes we need to write this out. So I know it says mental math. I'm going to kind of break the rules here and set it up our proportional style. So line equals line, always over 100. I want to know if 39 is 1% of something. So 1%, 39, what is that out of? What was the total? So we're going to cross multiply these. 1 times x is just x. 39 times 100 is 3,900. All right, so 39 is 1% of 3,900. All right, let's try this next one. We have line equals line, always over 100. We're solving for 10%. Okay, what is 39? So what's the total percent? If 39 is 10% of something, what is that something? All right, so let's cross multiply these. We get 10x. 39 times 100 is 3,900. We're going to divide out that 10. And if you divide that in your calculator correctly, you should get 390. So 39 is 10% of 390. All right, let's do the next one. 39 is 5% of what number? So line equals line. This should start to look like a pattern here. We have 5%, 39. We don't know the total number. All right, so we're going to cross multiply. I'm going to get 5x. 39 times 100 gives me 3,900. Divide by 5. And if you do this on your calculator correctly, you should get 780. All right, I'm going to let you pause the video. I'm going to have you do D and E on your own, and I will meet you back on number 4. All right, so we are on number 4. Number 4 says Derek had a 0.250, or we could say 250 thousandths of a batting average at the end of his last baseball season, which means that he got to hit 25% of the times he got up to bat. If Derek had 47 hits last season, then how many times did he get up to bat? All right, so we're going to continue setting it up with our proportional relationship here of line equals line, always over 100. Now he hit 25%, so 25 is going to go up here. Now, if he got 47 hits, how many total times did he get up to bat? So 47 out of the total times he got up to bat. So we're going to cross multiply these, and I get 25x equals 4,700. I'm going to divide the 25 out. And x equals 188. So he got up to bat 188 times. He hit the ball 47 of those times. So probably an okay batting average. Not the best, but it's okay. 5. Nelson used 35% of his savings account for his class trip in May. If he used $140 from his savings account while on his class trip, how much money was in his savings account before he went on the trip? So again, we're going to do line equals line, always over 100. He used 35% of it, which was $140. How much was in there total? And that's how you want to kind of think of setting that up. Let's cross multiply here. I get 35x equals 14,000. We're going to divide out that 35. And if you do that on your calculator, you're going to get 400. So $400 before his trip. That's how much money he had in his savings. All right, and that is the end of this lesson module, and I hope it helped.